U.S. Navy guided missile destroyer conducted a freedom of navigation operation near islands claimed by China and Vietnam in the South China Sea. According to the U.S. Navy, Arleigh Burke-class destroyer USS Wayne E. Meyer sailed near unspecified Chinese-held islands in the Paracel Islands in the South China Sea. China said the U.S. warship had entered its territorial waters without permission. Beijing maintains straight baselines around the Paracel Islands, which the U.S. sees as not valid under the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. China additionally requires prior notification for so-called innocent passage transits by foreign warships near the Paracel Islands. We again stress that China has irrefutable sovereignty over the islands of the South China Sea and their nearby waters. No form of provocation by foreign military ships and aircraft can change this fact, a statement by the Chinese People's Liberation Army's Southern Theater Command noted. Chinese People's Liberation Army Navy vessels were deployed to monitor the U.S. ship's passage near the Paracel features. The U.S. government began conducting regular freedom of navigation operations near Chinese-held features in the South China Sea in August 2023. The United States claims that these operations only challenge excessive maritime entitlement claims and not territorial claims. U.S. freedom of navigation operations have also challenged excessive claims made by U.S. allies and partners. The latest operation comes a little more than 2 weeks after another also conducted by USS Wayne E. Meyer. On August 28th, the vessel sailed within 12 nautical miles of Fiery Cross Reef and Mischief Reef, two features where China has built up large artificial islands. Both features are in the Spratly Group, where they are also claimed by the Philippines, Vietnam, and Taiwan. The Biden administration increased the tempo of U.S. freedom of navigation operations in the South China Sea. This year, 6 such operations have been reported. Other operations may have been carried out without publicity. The United States also conducts overflight operations in the South China Sea. The U.S. operation followed a transit by a Canadian frigate, HMCS Ottawa, through the Taiwan Strait. This route was chosen as it was the most direct route between UN Security Council sanctions monitoring activities in Northeast Asia and engagements in Southeast Asia, the Canadian Department of National Defence said last Tuesday about the transit. The Royal Canadian Navy does not conduct so-called freedom of navigation operations aimed at challenging the territorial claims of other nations, and the ship's transit was conducted in accordance with international law, including the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. Joint patrols in the disputed South China Sea among the Philippines and its allies could begin very soon, the Philippines envoy to the United States said Monday. I foresee it to happen very soon, Ambassador Jose Manuel Babe Romualdez told ANC's Head Start. This time, we're seriously sitting down and putting down the parameters of where the Philippines and Australia, who is obviously very much interested in joining these joint patrols or joint exercises with the United States, and hopefully, Japan will also look at this opportunity for them to join forces, he added. The move is meant to preserve freedom of navigation in the resource-rich waterway through which trillions of dollars in trade pass annually, Romualdez said. His statement comes after President Ferdinand Marcos Jr.'s recent visit to the U.S. amid China's growing aggression in the Asia-Pacific region. Marcos earlier said the joint patrols in the South China Sea could begin this year. The countries included in the joint patrols are the US, Australia, Japan, and South Korea. Romualdez stressed members of the Association of the Southeast Asian Nations wanted peace and stability in the region. For many of us in the ASEAN region, we want peace and stability in our area because we want more economic activity between the US and the ASEAN, and of course, China and the ASEAN, he said. In the interview, Romualdez disclosed there were no discussions yet on any additional sites under the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement. There was no discussion on additional sites. It was more on what these sites would be used for. A lot of sites have been chosen because of disaster preparedness, he said. The Philippines and US this year raised their EDCA sites to 9, drawing concern from China.